Port Harcourt. In not more than 100 words, write an original and creative piece on the topic why basic education is important for Nigeria's development. Send your entry indicating name, age, and school to socialph@nigeriainfo.fm. Entries close September 24th. Just so you know, the best 5 entries will be published on all our platforms, while the winner will be announced on the 1st of October 2021 during the online event marking the anniversary. So, join the conversation. Pick up your pen and get writing. For more information, check at Nigeria Info PH on Facebook and Instagram.
Different ideologies
and different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Very good afternoon to you, TGIF. Thank God it is Friday. Whatever that means to you, I commemorate with you this lovely day. It's a lovely Friday. I am so elated that it's the weekend, the start of the weekend. One thing that stands out for me at the weekends is that I get to have and enjoy some rest from the week's work, and I'm really excited about that. So once again, you're welcome to this beautiful day. You know, it's sunny over here. Sunny side activated on 92.3 Nigeria Info. This is your number one talk news and sports radio station here in Port Harcourt. 22 minutes gone past 12. I am Gabriella, and today we're going to start with an interesting conversation. Forgiveness, the concept of forgiving, and not just forgiving, but forgetting. You know how when you offend someone, you go apologize and you say, "Oh, please forgive and forget." You know, we use those words, all the time, forgive and forget. But is it really possible to forgive and forget? We'll talk about that shortly. At 1 o'clock, the news update, right after further conversations take us to 2 p.m. when we get to enjoy the weekend giveaway to Friday. So that's something that also excites me. One lucky person gets to win 5,000 naira for the weekend. I'm looking forward to that. Yet to still trying to wrap my hands around what I will do on that hour, but let's see how the day unwinds. Welcome once again to the sunny side.
As part of activities to mark our 10th anniversary, Nigeria Info FM is calling for entries from secondary school students in Port Harcourt. In not more than 100 words, write an original and creative piece on the topic why basic education is important for Nigeria's development. Send your entry indicating name, age, and school to socialph@nigeriainfo.fm. Entries close September 24th. Just so you know, the best 5 entries will be published on all all our platforms, while the winner will be announced on the 1st of October 2021 during the online event marking the anniversary. So, join the conversation. Pick up your pen and get writing. For more information, check at Nigeria Info PH on Facebook and Instagram.
Different ideologies.
Different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
So those words, forgive and forget, what weight does this everyday phrase actually hold, you know? According to the Oxford Dictionary, the number one definition for forgiveness is to stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, a flaw, or mistake. That's what Oxford Dictionary defines forgiveness as: to stop feeling angry or resentful towards a person for an offense or a mistake. An Oxford Dictionary definition for forget is to fail to remember. You fail to remember. But these aren't static objective words, apparently. They are words that require action, you know, and they are subjective to whoever is involved. For some people, they are moved by the idea that forgiveness and forgiving includes the action of recognizing and also accepting certain emotions, such as anger, resentment, you know, irritation. And some also say, well, forgiveness involves choosing to let go of these negative emotions. And therefore also, this also suggests that it has a direct correlation to being able to forget. But that's not true, really. The fact that you forgive doesn't necessarily translate to the ability to forget that mistake or offense. And when not connected to a memory or person, emotions over time, they get to fade. You know, if it's something that happened in a certain place that made you feel a certain type of way, with time, you tend to forget, especially when it's not connected to a person. But when it's someone who hurt you, who hit you, who broke your heart, or did something to you, it's a little bit more difficult to literally forget, you know. But forgiving and forgetting may appear quite similar, you know, to many people, but there is a very big difference in them. In reconciliation, we use the terms forgetting and forgiving. So when you sit down with your husband and his family people, or with your family people, they say, okay, fine, let bygone be bygone, forgive and forget. You know, people use those words all the time together. Forgiving is actually learning to stop being angry and harboring those resentments, feelings and thoughts towards a person who has wronged you. Forgetting, on the other hand, is when we determine to repress what happened and move on. You choose not to remember, and you choose to move on from that offense and never, you know, allow your mind cast back to that incident. And this also highlights that forgiving is the better option in comparison to forgetting, as it allows the person to really heal completely. So the big question right now on this hour is, can one truly forgive and forget? Would you say it's possible to actually forgive and genuinely forget? Or is it just are we just chasing shadows when we use those words and say forgive and forget, let bygone be bygone? Are we literally just chasing the impossible when we say those words to people in our lives? And also, what does forgiveness and forgetting, what does it actually mean to you? I really would like to know. And from a very personal point of view, when you forgive a person, do you forget? I think about it for myself, because as I ask you, I ask myself, when I forgive a person, do I really forget what they've done? Some people will hold a different sentiment and say, when I forgive a person, I don't forget, so that I prevent that person from repeating such a mistake to hurt me again. So I forgive you. I don't hold that negative emotion against you. I don't feel anger towards you, but I give you arm's length so that you do not have the opportunity to hurt me again. In such a situation, have I really forgotten? Even though we've established that I've forgiven the person, but can we say that I have actually forgotten the offense? Absolutely not. And very interestingly, would you say it is compulsory to forget when you forgive a person? Must you forget when you forgive a person? The phone lines are open. The floor is yours now. So let's talk. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. You can also call 0817-923-0007 or 0817-923-0009. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. We're also on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3ph. We're streaming live on there, so you can watch us as you drop your comments on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3ph. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm David from Port.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I think you said it all. There is forgiving and there is forgetting. And it depends on the depth of the offense or hurt. So the person that is injured. It's good to forgive, but as a human being, it's difficult to forget it. Because man will always be man. So if someone offends you and I think it's worth forgiving, I forgive but if the offense is a very hurting one and you don't expect me to forget, and sometimes it's good to forgive by your own self, because if you are being persuaded by people around you, forgive him, forgive her, forgive him, forgive her. Maybe you on your own. Okay, let me forgive this person. You find out that the hurt is still there. You didn't forgive that person on your own. So it's good on your own. You make up your mind. So let me forgive this person. At the end of the day, you might forgive that person, but forgetting is very, very difficult. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. And Lomba is calling from Woji. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gabriella.
Good afternoon.
See, what I want to say about this remember me when I was in the village. Yeah, one of my uncle, if you offend that man that time, he will tell us, I will forgive you, but I will not forget. You see, all these things that people are making, it's like chasing impossible. You cannot forget. Your mind is not going to. But the issue is this: you forget that for me. What I understand there is, you will forget about that in the sense that you don't want to go back, allowing that thing to worry you. That's what you mean. It's not that they are going to remove your memory. It was something that happened when we were small. We are still remembering them even today. So forgetting for me is just impossible.
So it's impossible to actually forgive and forget.
No, you can forgive, but forget. Now I'm talking about.
Oh, so you can forgive, but you cannot forget.
Remove the person's mind or remove your brain so that you will not remember something again. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Alomba, for your thoughts. Let's speak to God's Will from Iwofe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, God's Will.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about forgiveness and forgetting. These are two different things. And you can forgive, but the only way you can forget is only when that person's memory is wiped off. That's the only way that person can forget. But since you are still seeing that person that offended you, the only thing that will be flashing in your mind is the offense that the person committed against you. You can forgive, but to forget is hard. After the person goes out of your sight, it's terrible. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Mustafa from Obima, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Captain.
Good afternoon.
Good
Yeah, I'm Mr. Fakor from Home.
Go ahead.
Right. Since we see a broken heart never mend, and there is a memory will never raise in one's mind, one should not pretend that I have forgiven and forgotten. This is one can forgive, but indeed the memory will never erase in one's mind. So we only forgive, and without forgiving. Because if you forgive and forget, that means there is no history. One cannot tell history of what happened to him. So it's hard to forget, but it's easy to forgive.
All right, thank you very much. I always wonder, why then do people say forgive and forget if it's so impossible to forget? Mr. Zion, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this topic. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. This is one of the teachings of Jesus Christ. The truth is this: we don't forgive people in this part of the world. We only avoid them. We only avoid them. Avoid them so that they don't transgress or they don't step on our toes again. That is the practice here. If we are truly forgivers, we would have been experiencing the goodness of God. The kingdom of heaven would have been making itself prevalent here on earth. We don't forgive. That is why they say that, oh, I can forgive, but I cannot forget. You have not forgiven the person.
So, are you saying that if I do not forget, I haven't really forgiven the person?
You have not really forgiven the person. You are only avoiding the person. So
how does a person then forget?
Do you meditate? The place of meditation is a place of renewal of your strength. The place of meditation is where you encounter Jesus. Look at Jesus. Even the Bible said there was a time he went to a quiet place to pray. How many of us are going to a quiet place to pray today? How many of us can behave like the old-time faith Christianity, Christian of old? Today, once they wake up from sleep, now phone that they carry you, they gossip. Who is about to break up? That's what people are waiting for. If some people don't even sleep at night, they are waiting to look for gossip. Even the 5 minutes to pray, 5 minutes to pray, 5 minutes to pray, they don't do that. And you expect such people to forgive you? Do you know that people even carry the same heart they have in their past relationship to the present relationship? Recently, in our last program, chat station, had a conversation like this. And she asked a question: what lesson did you learn from your past relationship? And most of the contributions and messages she read are people who did not even forgive or learn anything from their past relationship.
So the question I want to ask now, so we can move on to other callers waiting on the line, is how then does a person forgive and forget?
1, if you are a prayer person, a person that prays and meditates, that is the only source you can learn how to forgive. Look at the Lord's Prayer.
What about people who do not practice Christianity?
This does not even bind only Christianity. It applies in all religions. It applies in all humanity. Even animals take time to meditate. Plants take time to meditate. Plants.
All right, Mr. Zion, thank you so much. MD from Umibo, good afternoon. Oh dear. Good afternoon, AK. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the topic. Like the last man said, actually it is important to recommend that we forgive those that sin against us as a prerequisite for us to receive forgiveness from God. That is true. But I know that the major point there is forgetting. Truly we forget. We should forget and do forget. How do we forget? You don't suck off the person's brain. You don't reveal learned since you are a child is in your brain, isn't it? You don't forget it. The only time you remember it is when there are similar things that reinforces the first thing you know. You remember, I have seen this face before. I have seen this before. But outside that, every other thing you know is hidden, is forgetting because other information pile on it and you didn't reinforce it. So if somebody offends you, you forgive the person. Try not to move over the offense. What this guy did to me, What this guy did to me, Let it just be forgotten and continue to live your life. You will see him. Okay, if, like one of the persons said that you keep the person away, if it is your wife, how will you keep her away? You will now divorce her so that to enable you to forget? No. You will see that she slapped me yesterday, but the slap holds no more hurt in my heart. And you do not muse over it. You allow other positive values about that person to sit over the offense. Allow other things, positive defense on the day to sit over the fence and make it, get it into irrelevance. That is how even you forgot the poems you learned in primary school. Other important things came upon it and it went into irrelevance. So let the offense of people not be meditated upon in your heart.
All right, thank you very much. Barry Gadon from Barra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gabi.
Good afternoon.
I'm actually watching you on the Nigeria Info app. Gabi, you are looking, as in you are beautiful. In fact, you're too fine.
Thank you very much.
Kimere.
Odima.
My name is Barry Gadon.
Go ahead.
Can one truly forgive? Yes. And forget? No. It's not possible to forget. Because if you want to forget, it needs a total formation of the brain. It's not easy to forget, Gabi. It's not easy. Odep are not easy at all. It needs a total formation of the brain. It's just like a car. To change the engine, you need to change the whole engine. That's it. So it's not easy to forget, but it's easy to forgive. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So many people on the line. Chibroma from Choba, good afternoon.
Yes, Gabi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Gabi. See, we are created in image and the likeness of God. So human beings are like God. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Go on.
So God forgives, but He doesn't forget. And that is the true nature.
Did you say God forgives but doesn't forget?
He doesn't forget, yes.
How do you mean?
You know the story of Nebuchadnezzar? Yes. Nebuchadnezzar was a very wicked man who raised his sword against the Lord of heaven. And then the same reference was given to Belshazzar. When Belshazzar offended God. Daniel was telling him that look at what your father did. You did not learn lesson from there, from what happened to your father. You too, you have come to raise sword against the Lord of heaven and earth. I don't know whether you get my point. So God doesn't forget, but He forgives.
Okay, so real quick, because we have to take other calls and so many messages flooding in. Tell me, is it possible to forgive and forget?
It's not possible. We only forgive, but we don't forget.
We only forgive and do not forget. All right. Chris from Imogwa, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gabi.
Good afternoon.
I think we miss the point when it comes to forgiveness. That word forget, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't apply. Because you are telling the person to develop amnesia, so he doesn't remember what happened. What really happens when people claim you have not forgiven is that they want you to give them the same opportunity that they messed up with. If I fostered you money and you diverted it for the means it wasn't meant for, You don't come back after forgiving you and expect me to do the same thing, to trust you again. In fact, that's the issue of trust. I don't trust this person anymore. Though I am not going to press charges for the money he misused, I'm not going to press charges for so and so he did to me. I've forgiven him. I am not taking him to the police. I'm not taking him to court. But I will not let him do this again to me by allowing him to be as close as he was.
But does that show that you have actually forgiven the person? If you're creating boundaries to protect yourself from that kind of hurt or offense again, does it show that you've truly forgiven?
Yes. If I have not forgiven you, I will be looking for vengeance. That unforgiveness means you are looking for vengeance. You are looking for a way to do that person back. But when you have forgiven the person, you let go.
I see.
But for you, especially if the person has done it to you first, second, and maybe third time, it's already obvious that this person is like this. This is his character. So you develop an attitude toward that person. It does not mean you have not forgiven.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for that. Let's take some comments. We'll get back to the phone line shortly. On Facebook, Blessing Uko says, forgiveness is a memory without loss. So one can forgive but can never forget. Magnus Edo says, nobody can forgive and forget. We are to forgive and retain the memory for future life. Like for me, I easily forgive, but I cannot forget the incident. Victor on Facebook says, I'd rather say I forgive, but I don't forget the lessons learned from the actions portrayed by the person. Okay, so this is another very important point you raised. So you forgive the person and you never forget the lessons learned, but can you forget the offense while holding on to the lessons you've learned from that experience? Moving on now to more comments. Back to the phone lines in a minute. Prince Vincent Udo says, it's easy to forgive but very difficult to forget. Mustafa Koko says, I don't know if I can call it a weakness. If I may call it a weakness, then it is a part of my weakness that I hardly forget both the good and bad, but I can forgive. All right, thank you for sharing. Kayinde from Stadium Road, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I've been on the line for a while. You're going to pay for this credit and bonus.
Apologies, Kayinde. Go ahead.
Right, so let me make quick submissions, right? I want to start from correcting one information somebody mentioned, like God created us in his own likeness. Of course he did, but by his likeness does not mean he's man or woman. It means that he gives us the control over some things, like control of decision, not the same way we rule over animals. So he rules over us. That's the likeness, not likeness of physicality like a man or a woman in biology. So then again, the act of forgiveness, it is written in books, holy books, that he enjoins us to forgive and forget. But he specifically said that it's difficult to forget because he knows we are human. So all he enjoins us to do is forgive, forget, by placing big rewards for those who can do that. But he mentioned a caveat there that you have to pick your lesson because he knows that he created humans and humans are things. Okay, so let me give you a practical example. For example, in the Quran, if a prostitute who has been sleeping with all men for 1,000 years decides a day to stop that act, when she still has the ability, the beauty, the strength to continue what she's doing, and she stops it willingly on her own, and she does not go back to it, the Quran said that God will convert all the evil deeds to act of worship for the person, as if that person has been worshiping him for the past 1,000 years, because the person decided to stop it at that point when he has or she has the wherewithal to continue. You understand? So that is how magnanimous he is. So he wants us to do that. He is like placing premium on the product. You of course know that you want people to strive to attain it, but it's difficult. So in terms of forgiveness, he wants us to forgive and forget, but he also knows it's difficult because he created us that way. So all he enjoys us to do, okay, there's a price for somebody who can forgive and forget. People will now strive to attain it, but he puts the caveat, speak to your lessons. Okay?
All right, Kennedy, thank you so much for that. Do I still have Samuel? Oh, I lost Samuel's call. Please call back. Let's take some comments now. We've got to wrap up in a few minutes. Some comments on Facebook, and then we get to WhatsApp as well. This here says, you can only forgive, but you cannot forget. He who dedicated the ground may forget it, but he who packed it will never forget. Wow. Flex Agula says. Tamonot Tekenau, Puso David says, you can forgive but to forget, I think it's impossible to do. Well, everyone is pretty much saying, the same thing. You can forgive but you cannot forget. What if the person repeats the same thing? It's easier to forgive, but I don't think I'll be able to forget what happened. That's what Morris is saying, as well as Barry Namonke. Well, let's see what people are saying on WhatsApp and see if that is if there's any difference with that. Good afternoon, Gabby. We can only forgive incidents, but we do not forget it. The incident stays with us until we die, Oku Stanley says from Port Harcourt. Frank from Woji says, we can actually forgive, but forgetting has to do with seeking peace of mind. Memory-wise, human brains do not forget completely, but one can resolve to see it concluded as a concluded case in seeking joy and peace. Hector says, it's easier to forgive than to forget. I can forgive you and let go, but you cannot take away the experience and the memory. If I say it's possible to forget, then I am lying. Even God does not forget. Problemo. Valentine from Igboeche says, we can forgive, but it is impossible to forget the offense. To forget will require a formatting of the brain. We can consciously let go of the offense. So why then do people say forgive and forget if it's so impossible? If it's this impossible, why do we always say please forgive and forget? So does it therefore mean we're not referring to forgetting in literal terms? So maybe when we say forgive and forget, we mean forgive and don't think about it anymore, or don't perceive of me from the standpoint of my offense, because that could really be what it means. Because again, if you think about the boundaries that we create when a person offends us so they don't have the opportunity to hurt us again, that might be a display of not forgetting. You get what I mean? So if, for instance, someone offends me, my friend hurts and offends me, and he or she comes for forgiveness, and I say, okay, I've forgiven you, but we're no longer the way we were, our friendship is no longer on the same level it was, but we're cool, we're friends and all, but not like before, that means I've not forgotten. But if after begging for forgiveness, saying let bygone be bygone, and we remain friends, and I still remain friends with he or she on the same level, the same way we were friends before, the way we were close, how close and closely knit we were before, do you think that is what translates to forgiving and forgetting? That is, I'm not allowing your offense decide the kind of relationship we have going forward. I am not allowing your offense influence how I see you or how I perceive of you. Maybe that's what forgetting really stands for. Because again, it's, of course, like everyone has said, it's almost impossible to literally forget and say, oh, I don't remember. What did you do again? I can't remember. It's almost impossible because we have a mind that we're not totally in control of. We have a subconscious mind that remembers and takes in information and data that we're not even conscious of per time. So it's almost impossible to literally forget that Lara, offended me yesterday, for instance. I may remember, 3 years ago, Lara stole my pencil, or she stole my biro, and I would always remember that. But I don't allow it to influence how I relate with her today. I can still leave my pen on the table because I don't want to allow the fact that she took my pen 3 years ago influence how I relate with her today. So maybe that's what it really means, just maybe, I'm thinking. Maybe that's what it really means. We'll take a final call and wrap the conversation up. Can one truly forgive and forget? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gabby.
You're my final caller. Go ahead.
See, our people say something. That the goat said that because it has happened to me before, that's why it's not playing with water. When goat eats your valuable, when we catch the goat those days, what we do is to use water to wash the goat's eye. And that's why the goat will always say that, you don't do me before, now I make cannot go play with water. So why am I saying this? If goat can remember what has happened to him before that he will play with water, talk less of human beings. If such situation from itself again, then I tell you, you will not forget. But you can forgive and just decide to move on and just, okay, that person did me this, but I put it behind me. But forgetting, no, now this scar will always be there. This scar will always be there. So I don't think anybody, if good, cannot forget, I don't think human being can forget. Thank you.
All right. I wonder why you're equating animals to humans, but it's okay. We have to wrap the conversation up right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this. Like I already said, just maybe the concept of forgiving and forgetting is, after forgiving, taking it a step further to relate to the person as though the person never offended you, just might be the real concept of forgiving and forgetting. 1 o'clock happens in 3 minutes, the news update, and right after, further conversations on the sunny side.